So apparently, a New York City man is living on $100 a month, and he dramatically cut back his expenses in five key ways, but he can still treat himself, right? But let's check this out.
Day 21 on saying how long $100 can last me. In New York City, we started off today with 25.97. I ran out of water for coffee. I walked on over to the big city and I did not hop the turnstile to get to this open mic. I just opened my coffee,
Meaning he definitely did.
filled up my water bottle for free. After that, my friend Jack Barth gave me a bite of his little bread. Delicious.
Well, that's nice.
Look at us go. Wow. And I bought myself two
By
noodles.
the way, like the like those types of breads, depending on where you get it, even in New York City or whatever, like in these big like states, cities, whatever, some of these big breads could only cost maybe like $1, maybe $2, like for the full thing. Like, and it's like almost 2 feet long, which is nuts.
Noodles for 250.
Which here's the thing, right? Also, I really like the idea that he's chose the ramen route. Now the thing is, I mean, he kind of bought more premium ramen, which is really effed up to say that it's premium because he spent 250 for only like 2 packs of ramen. But depending on like if you buy the ramen in kind of like more bulk, you could literally spend 250 for like 12 packs of ramen, which he could technically cut costs even more.
I did this because my friend Andrew Mueller is going out of town, and I was staying at his place to take care of his cute little cat. Oh, see? They even made me a sick ass little pumpkin cake. Wow, and there's only two rules: keep the cat alive and throw a party. After completing the party, I became hungry for some noodles. As I got the noodles ready, I gave Ozzy a little snack past his eating hours, because I'm a cool uncle. He was all like, delicious. And then I was like, delicious. Then Ozzy took a little shower, and that inspired me to shower too. I'm not sure if Ozzy likes me, but I got 3 days to win him over. Today I spent a total of 250, leaving me at 23.47.
The thing is, I mean, he's definitely saving a lot of money. But let's actually continue into this story. But I do like how he chose like ramen instead of like another choice, just simply because ramen is quite literally the cheapest food source that you could probably get, other than like a big bag of rice. So, a TikTok user has revealed how he dramatically reduces expenses in five key ways throughout the month of November. Frankie Hoy, a 27-year-old comedian living in a van in New York City, has been living off, not leaving off, $100 over the past 28 days. And even with his minimal spending habits, Frankie has still been able to occasionally treat himself. Now, here's the thing, too, right? Like, some people might think if they stumble upon this, like, oh, this is insane, right? But here's also another thing. He's a comedian in New York City, maybe not really professional yet, but is probably making just enough to really get by. So cutting his costs to this extent would probably actually also help him like have even more margin that would allow him to probably spend more time working on his craft being a comedian and potentially get like bigger and bigger gigs which could make him a better comedian long term. So like honestly this is probably actually a good route for him to try to keep his costs as low as possible so that he could really focus on his comedic career. So let's see. Frankie has been posting videos documenting every day of his minimalist journey, and it seems he's been successful by living in his van, working at a catering company to make up for his unpaid comedy gigs. Okay, so here's the thing. So I was a little bit, like, I assumed, differently. So it's still a good idea for him to do this so that he could try to actually get paid for his comedy gigs, right? So hopping the turnstile to take the subway, not buying drinks at bars, and eating free or cheap food. He also noted that he's not poor for realizes, but he's doing this saving money experiment because he wants to spend more time on his comedy craft instead of working. But basically, this was pretty much what I assumed that he was probably trying to do. But yeah, this is the thing. If he gets remotely good at the comedian thing, he could potentially make like a grand, maybe 2 grand a week, like on a weekend, right? which could provide him with a really good income wherever he is or wherever he wants to live in. So I think this is actually a really smart idea for him because if he's able to spend a lot more time working on his craft, working on his skill set that he wants to turn into his career, it might actually end up turning well for him, you know? So living life on a budget doesn't come easy, but Frankie has been living it up in his humble abode, also known as his van. He admits in some of his videos that he often works on his comedy sketches inside his residence on wheels, and sometimes he is seen eating inside the van with his friends. But when it comes to staying clean, Frankie showers at his local gym, which appears to be a Planet Fitness. And here's the thing, I think for like Planet Fitness, you could technically get I think like a $20 pass or whatever, where you could basically go inside any Planet Fitness nationwide. So you could basically use their gyms anywhere, everywhere, which ain't too bad, right? I mean that's a pretty cool thing to do. So it appears that Frankie's job at a catering company makes up for his time spent doing unpaid comedy gigs. His job, which requires him to dress up in black slacks and a dress shirt, seems to help him save money as he is often fed during work and seen filling up on free water from a sink. Hopping turnstile. Frankie seems to travel across the city often to perform in various comedy gigs, so he's likely saved a lot of money hopping the turnstile to take the subway. For example, riding the subway just once a day for 28 days at $2.75 a ride would total a whopping $77. So no drinks at a bar. Frankie has admitted to noticing his pants are fitting better, likely because he has stopped drinking beer and ordering drinks at bars. His beverage of choice over the past 28 days has been instant coffee and free water. And here's the thing, I'm not hating on instant coffee, but dear Lord, that being the only things that you drink, man, you are going super hard. Super hard on being cheap. So, eating free or cheap food. One major way Frankie is able to save money is by using the Too Good To Go mobile app, which allows customers to buy and collect surprise bags of food at a cheaper price. On one of the days, he purchased food through the app and ended up with about a dozen chicken wings. Frankie also often starts off his day with instant coffee. Other times, he indulged in bites of his friend's loaf of bread, which came at no cost to him. And again, as like an FYI, a lot of these like big loaves of breads that are not cut cost only like $1 or two, like for a massive thing. And he often eats Maruchan noodles, a ramen soup brand that is very affordable and just needs to be cooked in boiling water. In one shopping trip, he bought 6 packets of noodles for $3.58. He has also been seen eating a free cupcake given to him by a friend, free catered meals at the catering hall he works at, which sometimes offers him delicious leftovers from events, and free chicken wings given to him by a friend who doesn't eat meat. And the US Sun reached out to Frankie for comment on his money saving ways, but did not receive an immediate reply. And in response to his videos going viral and gaining more than 100,000 followers on TikTok, Frankie told NBC News, "When I was getting 50,000 views, I got anxious. I was like, oh my god, I don't know any of these people." And then it became hundreds of thousands, and I got anxious again. It's just been a roller coaster of being anxious and then not being anxious, but most of the response has been positive. And as of today, Frankie has made it to day 28 of life on a $100 budget, and he started out the day with $5.96. So here's the thing, I actually really like this. Now here's the thing, if Frankie ever like ends up like stumbling upon this, right? Dude, what you should probably be doing is putting up some of your clips of your like comedy sketches as you're building online on like your TikTok, your social medias and whatnot, because you might get a few people or a good small following that might be loyal to you where they might go see you on the weekend or at night or whatever, just to hang out with you, be willing to go to a show of yours, and that might end up just giving you enough money from your gigs that people are paying to see you at to quit your job so that you could go full time with comedy. Like, if I was Frankie, that's probably the way that I would go about it, because then I could just focus all of my time with the comedy. Like, that's the way I would do it. Because the thing is, he wants to work on his comedy sketches, right? He wants to be probably a comedian. And the best way to do that is one, get paid to do it so that you could just focus all of your free time on getting better at it. Like, that's the way that I kind of like look at it. But still, I think it's pretty impressive to be doing this in New York City. Like, that's pretty insane. But feel free to give your thoughts. If you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money, go down below or go to 40inbox.com and you can learn how I got out of debt and grew my net worth.